And tonight on a Great American panel, he, a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, Fox News contributor, USA Today columnist, and now one of my favorite shows, one of the co-hosts of The Five, Bob Beckel is here. He is the author of the Tea Party Manifesto, founder and editor and CEO of WorldNetDaily.com. Joseph Farah is with us. She was the former spokeswoman for the House Republican Conference, currently the executive director of Public Notice. Gretchen Hamel is here. Good to see you all. Hi. All right. Analysis of tonight.
Well, I think it was really interesting. This is the most diverse state that they have been to yet. It's the fourth largest state in the nation. Tonight's election was important, but it's going to be even more important in November. So I think Romney had a good showing. I think that sends some signals. And he won the big counties, the counties that are going to matter now and the counties that are going to matter in November.
Joe?
Big win for Romney, obviously, but I don't think it's the end of the world for Gingrich. I think he's right. It's now a two-man race. But like he says, 46 to go. A lot of delegates to be won yet.
What about Rich Santorum?
Nobody has 100 delegates yet. We're not even 1/10 of the way to the end of this.
This was interesting because they moved up. It was winner take all, even though they lost half of the delegates, which was pretty interesting. What about the case that Senator Santorum was making tonight, that it can't be about the candidate? He was talking about Newt Gingrich. It's got to be about the issues. I'm the conservative alternative. So do they keep battling each other?
Well, I think Santorum's doing one of two things. He's either trying to position himself as, hey, there's no mud on me and I'm a bona fide conservative, and maybe that's going to propel him to the front of the race. Or the other thing that crossed my mind when he was really talking about Newt criticizing Romney. Yeah. And the thought occurred to me, is he trying to position himself for a vice presidential candidacy there?
I think that's taken. I think it's going to be Rubio. Yeah. That's my guess.
If it's not, somebody's lost their mind.
Rubio's not eligible.
What do you mean?
You're going to lose 10% of the Republican vote because he's not a natural-born citizen. We've been through this with Obama now for 4 years.
I don't believe that.
Can of worms again?
I don't think that's going to work.
Far be it for me to argue that. You Republicans worry about that. But let me tell you what struck me about this. First of all, was the amount of money spent in this primary was probably a record-setting amount for any state I've ever seen. And Romney was in there early. He spent a lot of money. He got to those
early voting.
Yeah, 500,000 people voted early, and he got to them, and Gingrich was in no position to do that. The one thing that Newt found out was that Florida is not South Carolina. The northern part of Florida is, but the rest of it is, you're right, it's as diverse, like Ohio, the most diverse state in the country. You learned a lot, but the thing that I walked away from most importantly was 40% of the people who voted today didn't like their choices.
About 39 to be exact, but who's counting?
Well, I mean, okay, sorry.
Who's counting? But Romney performed well with the people that he needed to. He performed well with women. He performed well in the areas that he needed to. And I think that speaks a lot to his ability as a candidate. Now, a lot of money was spent in
10 days ago was just the opposite.
But he had this transformation. He came out of South Carolina, and he wasn't beaten. He came out and stronger, and he started
No, he did not come out strong.
I disagree.
He came out down. This is what makes this fascinating. In South Carolina, Newt was down double digits, was able to turn it around in 1 week in 2 debates and come back and win by double digits. Same scenario in Florida. Romney's down by double digits at the start of this 10-day period. He turns it around with 2 good debate performances.
Well, it's more than debate performances. It's like $17 million.
So $17 million, I would agree with that. But certainly, I think if Newt had those same debate performances, I'm not sure if these results would be the same tonight.
That's very true.
It would have been closer, but, you can't turn on the television in Florida.
Oh, it's awful.
It's amazing what happened in 20 days, isn't it? Newt came out of New Hampshire 10 days prior to South Carolina, coming in 4th place. He wins South Carolina. 10 days exactly later, he comes in second by a big margin to Romney.
So what does that tell you? Nevada's up in the air.
Yeah, it's very fluid.
You've been around a lot of races, Bob. I mean, we haven't really. It's always been historically one guy will win New Hampshire, one guy will win the Iowa caucus. One of the two will win South Carolina, and the race is over.
Yes.
Not the same anymore.
Well,
rules have changed, right?
Well, it was. You remember it took Florida to put McCain over the top after he won South Carolina. But what Newt's problem is going to be is with all presidential candidates, it is not the ego that drives people out of this race. I mean, the problem is Newt's ego, with all due respect, is cashing checks that his bank account doesn't have. And maybe he raised a lot of money on this blast he's got. If he could raise $3 or $4 million, but it is money that drives him out of this race. And remember, candidates are personally responsible for their money.
And you can say you're going to go for 46 more states, but you have to have the money and the operation to do that. And right now, Newt doesn't have it.
There's something else about Florida that I noticed that I haven't heard anybody mention, which is unusual given all the analysis here. There's really two Floridas. There's a rural Florida and the urban Florida.
If you're on NBC News, they say the cracker counties in economy.
Well, yeah.
Did you read that? Yeah.
Newt won, if you look, all the rural counties, and he won them substantially. There's just not enough people in those areas, but it does suggest that he's going to do very well in other southern states. He's going to do well in rural America.
Let me ask this then. You know, we had Governor Palin on last night. She said this is about the GOP establishment versus, and you wrote the Tea Party manifesto, the Tea Party grassroots and independent Americans who don't like the politics of personal destruction. We can all sit here all day long and sanctimoniously, in our, armchair quarterback this thing and say, these negative ads got to stop. The reason why negative ads are running is because they work.
They work. Exactly.
This was the proof of the pudding.
It was.
It was money well spent.
Is this establishment versus Tea Party? Newt tried to, I think, create that.
Well, I think Romney is clearly the establishment candidate. Look at the people who are supporting Mitt Romney. It's Karl Rove and then you look at the people who are supporting Newt Gingrich, and it's Sarah Palin and
but you have to also admit that the Tea Party, one of your biggest elected officials in South Carolina, Senator DeMint, stayed out of the race and decided not to go in for Gingrich.
Marco Rubio in Florida.
Yeah, I'm wondering how you don't have to tell me. I'm asking the question really. How united is the Tea Party behind Newt?
The Tea Party is not united around any candidate. I think that Newt got probably some help late from Tea Party activists, but the leadership of the Tea Party movement can't tell the grassroots where to go.
How dangerous is this divide? It's look, you read your emails inbox, I read mine. It's palpable.
It is.
I mean, if somebody supports Romney, they're not liking Gingrich, or Gingrich supporters. If somebody supports Gingrich, they're not liking Romney and Romney supporters. It was bad when Obama and Clinton were going at it. I remember Bill Clinton saying they played the race card on me.
Yeah, but not like this. Much different.
It was
worse. Well, no. Remember, it was strung out a long time. And they were very close in delegate count. So you had two titanic campaigns running to each other, where here you've got one who's clearly well-funded. And look what Newt has to walk into. He's got to walk into caucus states now. Then he's got to go to Michigan. I mean,
certainly I would say advantage Nevada and Michigan Romney.
And any caucus state, because it takes organization, and that costs money.
Yeah. Michigan's got Romney history, too.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying Michigan. Yeah.
But in the rural states matter. Small town farm and ranch girl, everyone back home is big on Newt. So I think that will make a difference.
You want to see the state that'll tell you whether Newt could stay in the state or not? It's a beauty contest. It's Missouri, a beauty contest. It doesn't count for delegates because it's a caucus state. But there's a good microcosm of Republican America. If Newt can do well in Missouri versus Romney.
Not in there.
Huh?
He's not in it.
Oh, he couldn't stay.
He
didn't qualify. Gee, that's a shame to hear that.
One big opportunity.
I actually
and
do
he's
that.
not
I just thought I'd say it to stir the
You
water.
happy with yourself? You like to?
I just like to stir it up.
And you do this
What
for
a surprise! I watched the 5.
No. It's,
all right. We got to take a quick break here. We're going to come back with more analysis with our great American panel right after the break.